The European Union has just approved a $105 billion loan to help keep Ukraine funded through 2027. And they're not using the frozen Russian assets. As you may know, the United States has really truly completely cut off Ukraine when it comes to any real kind of support. And so Europe had to come together to decide whether or not they're going to use the frozen Russian assets to fund Ukraine or do something a different way. The easiest thing would have been using the frozen Russian assets, but because there's a lot of people in Europe that don't want it, referring to like countries like Hungary and Slovakia, they decided to not go that route at this time. That's mostly because of Belgium, who holds most of the money in their banks. They warned that if we did this, it could expose a massive legal risk if Russia tried to claw back that money. Which 100% Russia, they want that money back after the war is over. Though, as we've all said before, that money should never go to Russia. It should go straight to Ukraine so that you can rebuild Ukraine. So instead of using the Russian assets, they're now pulling all their money together inside of Europe to help fund nearly 2/3 of Ukraine's really governing costs until 2027, through 2027. I need to add that talks on taking the Russian frozen assets, that's not over. It's just there was a lot of hurdles that needed to be done, and they couldn't do it in the time frame that they needed. They needed this thing signed by today. And so there was not enough time to get that together. So I'm assuming that even though it got funded, they're going to start talks on these frozen Russian assets probably right after the new year. But it does show that Europe is taking more responsibility for helping Ukraine after the United States pretty much cut Ukraine off completely, which should send a message to Putin that we're not giving up on Ukraine. We're making sure they're good for the next 2 years, and we're going to give them what they need. My question for you is, do you think they should have just used the frozen Russian assets, or is this loan the better option?